What is up, everybody? It's your boy Dragon Hero, the King here today, and today we're going to be talking about Initial D, second stage. So, time to go into second gears, people. So, second gear happens immediately after first gear, and kind of after the first extra stage, which we have the Emperors now finally getting into the Gunma area, and they're finally trying to go against the Takahashi brothers, and they're also, they're trying to take over the area by beating every single one of the best racers there. But of course, we know this happens immediately after Ryosuke and Takami's race, and we know that Takami won. So everybody's trying to get Takami to fight him because they're like, "Oh, Takami, you gotta fight the Emperors." They're really good racers and stuff like that. And Takami ends up going against the second in command, and I'm not gonna spoil how that go, but eventually he does go against the main guy. Something happens to his A6, and ultimately that starts up the rest of the series. In the second half, he meets another racer and his sister, and that ultimately is how the rest of the second season go. In terms of story, I do like it. I like that it is still very straightforward. It's still okay. Takami gets challenged. He races somebody. He goes through the motion, and then he goes back to his normal life. And he also has other things going on in here. He also finds out that his girlfriend, Natsuki, basically, he finds out about how in the first stage she was seeing somebody else behind his back. He finds out about that. And that ultimately sets up that storyline for another season. They don't really do much with that, which I thought it was kind of dumb how they didn't even touch on it. They mostly focus on the Emperors and then the other racing that happened at the end of the show. And that's mostly it for the second stage. Like, nothing huge happened other than the Emperor plotline. And then after that, it's just trying to fix the E6 and Takami learning more about cars and stuff like that. And that's what I really like about it, because I like that in the second half is more about him figuring out the H6 and stuff like that. I love the first half because it gave us a great race, and it also bring back characters from the first stage, and they actually get to do something in the second stage. So let's talk about the character. Of course, Takami, this time around, he is, of course, the top dog in his town because he was able to beat both the Takahashi brothers, both Ryosuke and Keisuke, and he's basically beating everybody who challenged him until eventually he runs to the Emperors. And after he deals with one of them, he ends up going against the main boss. But something happens in that race that ultimately has Takami having to go and do something with his A6 in order to make it ready, so that if he ever decides to race him again, he'll have a much better shot next time around. And I also love the leader of the Emperors. I like that the leader of the Emperor he's not necessarily an asshole compared to his second in command. He understands that there are great racers. He understands that every great racer has a different cars, different reasoning why they do certain things. And I love that when he did fight Takami, he's like, "Look, I'm gonna teach you a lesson. Like, this is a teaching lesson, because I know you're probably getting cocky because you have this card that's not anything like the rest of our all cars are like high tier cars, but you have this little 8-6 beating people. But I'm gonna teach you that sometimes stuff will happen. Like, you will eventually lose, or even if you win, you may not be satisfied." And I really love their dynamic together, and I love that he's gonna play a huge part in the next stage once we eventually get back to him. We also, of course, have Ryosuke. Like I said, he gets a race in here. He gets a really good race, and that's mostly it in terms of him. He also sets up something for a later season. He starts having an idea for it, but we don't really get to know what it is until the Thursdays, and then eventually everything in the last half of the anime. But he does still play a card. Keisuke this time around doesn't really get to do much this season. Like, they don't really give him like a big race or anything. He's just mostly just there because obviously the main guy, the Emperor's only want to fight Ryosuke. He's not interested in Keisuke. And of course Takami goes against second in command, so it's like there's not really much for him to do. He still has his rivalry with Takami, but other than that, he doesn't really get to do much. He goes more in the later stages. And yeah, next we have Iski. Now, Iski actually gets a huge story arc in the second half because he ends up having a crush with the sister with the sister of the character named Wataru, who is another A6 driver, and Iski and the sister, they start getting close and stuff like that. And it was nice to see him actually have a love interest character that kind of cared about him, because he did have one in the first stage, but that didn't go nowhere. And I just really love the dynamic between the two characters. But of course, something happens between that, and then something else is gonna happen more with that later on. But Wataru, I really like as a character. I like that he's also an A6 driver, and he's trying to teach Takumi, like, hey, you got this basic A6 with only like bare basic modifications. Like, there's a lot of potential we have with our cars. We can make them much powerful and stronger by doing these mods and this stuff. And I like that he becomes like a teacher to Takumi throughout the entire season. And then of course they have their own race and stuff like that, but he's just such a great teacher towards him. And yeah, it was such, I just really love that. And of course the final character I'm going to talk about is the GOAT, Bunta, Takumi's father. In this season, he's really helping out Takumi. I only still understand how the A6 work. He teaches them about new engines and other stuff that can better help out the car. And I just love that he's just such a great like mentor figure throughout the show. Even though yes, he is Takumi's biological father, he's still a mentor figure trying to teach his son about how the racing world works. And again, the music is still great in here. So many great tracks and stuff like that. There's just so many great things about this second season. They really did a good job with this. So if you have not seen Second Stage, I highly recommend watching Second Stage. It's such a good season. It's, I don't know where I will put it in rankings. I'm gonna rank all of the season after I'm done, but definitely a good season. And I really love the rivalry in here. So many great rivals. But next we're gonna go into the third stage. So I'll catch you guys in that review. Hope you guys enjoyed. This is your boy Dragon of the King signing out. Comment, rate, subscribe as always. Catch you guys later. Peace.